A couple years ago, I did Halo 1 LASO for the first time. It was terrible, and I hated every second of it.
I'll probably do LASO on the other games at some point, but yeah, don't expect me to ever do like a LASO speedrun or anything. That's not happening.
I'm a frog, and in this video, I decided to speedrun Halo CE LASO in under 2 hours. LASO, if you don't know, is legendary all skulls on. Skulls being game modifiers that make it way harder than normal legendary. Halo CE has its own weird set of skulls that I'll explain as we go through. Couple important things. First off, I'm not playing through the whole game in one go. Instead, I'm running each level individually. Then at the end, we'll take all my times, add them together, and see if they come in under 2 hours. Second, as you probably know, the Iron Skull makes it so on solo, if you die, you restart the entire level. But this can be circumvented by saving and quitting real fast, which I've done in my past LASO videos. But this time, I'll be doing each level also completely deathless. If I die, I have to restart. I'll have a link in the description to a video that shows all my final runs completely unedited. Let's hop in. Halo combat of all begins with a shot of one giant space ring to rule them all. That's why it's called Halo, oh my god. It's approached by the Pillar of Autumn during its mission to boldly go where no one has gone before. Captain Keyes paces around the bridge trying to meet a step goal for the day as crewmen run around and materialize out of thin air.
Hello.
This Johnson guy seems awesome. I can't wait to see what contributions he has during my LASO playthrough. Right off the bat, unlike the other games, Halo CE does not have the blind skull on LASO. Instead, it has malfunction, which hides one HUD element. That could be your ammo, grenades, health, shields, or in this case, my reticle is invisible. This thing. This missing element changes every time I restart, and in this video, I'm gonna cut between different runs, so if you notice my reticle is missing 1 second, then it's back and my health is missing instead, that's why.
How did your reticle come back?
Frequently asked questions, why does your reticle come back? The other part of the HUD, the motion tracker, is always disabled because of the fog skull. I made it to the bridge where instead of walking all the way to Keyes, I saved a massive amount of time by turning around and triggering the cutscene here. Captain Keyes wished me good luck with the challenge, Chief got creepy smile mogged by Cortana.
Earth.
Cortana then tried to get me demonetized, and it was time for my first combat of the level upon leaving the bridge. There's only 3 grunts here, but they're more dangerous than you might think because with the grunt funeral skull, every grunt explodes after he dies, which can in turn make me die. The boom skull doubles the blast radius of all explosions, which combined with the grunt funeral skull turns grunts into walking tactical nukes. Having the pistol is essential in this level, unless you're doing a speedrun at GDQ, but if you leave the bridge too quick like an idiot, you don't get the pistol, which for me is a reset. Ideally, you simply get the pistol, headshot a grunt or two, then hide before you get blown up. As I go into the cafe, you might notice my shields aren't recharging, and that's because of the black eye skull that makes it so your shields only recharge by meleeing enemies. The good thing about black eye in this game is that when you melee an enemy, your shields instantly go full, you don't have to wait, which I take advantage of here by punching a grunt as I go by. Sometimes though, with your shields down, these guys just like to melt you. Or you get by, and right before you grab the health pack, which on LASO also restores your shields, you get shot in the back and die anyway. Next up, as we all know, the Marines are waiting outside the airlock and get blown up, which takes down my shields, but you can easily just walk past the area. It was now time for me to fight alongside my Marines at the barricade. What the fuck? It's always pretty simple. Headshot a grunt and let them blow everything up. I had 2 problems here. One, the Marines are stupid and love throwing grenades at their feet, which always damaged me as well. And the other problem was sometimes I'd get ahead of myself and try to rush through the hallway too quick and either get blown up by grunt corpses or one of them throwing a grenade. Or there's only 2 grunts left and Frog tries to just run by, only for his Marine to throw a grenade at the grunts and blow him up. Looks like we're good. As I make it through the level, that is the primary strategy. Just shoot a grunt and let them blow everyone up. It's a tight space, so they're pretty good at it. Look at this beautiful carnage. Ow. When the room is clear, assuming you aren't dead, there's an out-of-bounds trick you can do called stair skip. It starts by standing on this shield just right to get teleported into the ceiling, and if all goes well, you'll stand on a specific part of the door frame. Be careful though, because if you don't get bumped, you have no way to get the shield back down because on CE LASO, you can't grab Covenant weapons or plasma grenades because of the foreign skull. I'm bad at this trick and I messed it up in every possible way. You have to platform out of bounds, and if you do anything even slightly wrong, you fall back into the map or you fall out of the map in outer space and there's nothing you can do. And reminder, every time I mess this up, I wasn't just reverting checkpoint, I had to restart the entire level. But then it happened. I somehow did the whole trick correctly and hit a teleport that only had a 1 in 3 chance of working because I did it in a way that's entirely luck-based, and I found myself in the maintenance access way. I came out into this hallway, which is usually packed full of 4 elites and a few grunts, then there's another elite down this hallway, but I just don't have to worry about any of them because of that trick. Not to mention all the corridors I just skipped completely. I took my time taking out an elite, then there were a few grunts in this charred room that take turns blowing up. Shoot this grunt in the maintenance tunnel and be careful not to blow up. And after an hour of stair skip attempts, I was finally in the last hallway. After that death, I simply stopped going for stair skip and instead walked the parts I'd skipped. In the stair room, I did a nifty little jump to get up faster, then backsmacked a couple elites as I went by. This hallway is also about shooting a grunt and watching him explode. 3 more grunts outside the maintenance tunnel, this room which now had the enemies I mentioned, but I got extremely lucky with the 1 grunt I shot chain reacting in such a way to kill every enemy except 2 elites who had their shields down and I could just headshot. The elite who runs in from the cryo room, I just AR and punched over and over until he committed die. But this did take a bit longer because of the mythic skull that doubles enemy health. After killing these cats, I made it back to the last hall where this time I successfully did what I was attempting before and ran past everyone into a maintenance tunnel. This allows me to pop out, shoot a grunt, hide, and let everything blow up, then run to the airlock. We escape in a lifeboat and head towards the Ringed Beast. Master Chief tells kids everywhere not to wear their seatbelt, and my final Pillar of Autumn time was 7:17. I'll be keeping track of all my times in this handy table in case you forget because I want to make it easy for you. I love my viewers.
Subscribe to my channel.
After entering the ring's atmosphere, our lifeboat pilot's poor spatial awareness causes her to crash, letting me begin level 2, Halo, which I'll tell you in advance was my second least favorite level to play for this video, and you'll see why. Starting off, it's easy. Rather than take the bridge, I run over here and do a grenade jump. This saves some time from walking, but more importantly, skips enemies. There's normally a few Covenant up ahead, plus 2 Banshees in the sky. The downside of this grenade jump is that it guarantees I won't have shields for this first combat encounter, which you can't see here because it's disabled on my HUD, but I assure you they're missing. This opening encounter is the easiest of the section though, because the Covenant are all focused on the Marines, which allows me to pick off grunts until I blow up an elite or 2. Then I clean up the rest, give Johnson a love tap, and this is where the real difficulty begins. More dropships start coming in. Until the end, the next ship always comes when there are 2 or fewer enemies alive at the previous ship. So I have to be strategic with how I kill everything. I don't want to kill all the grunts and jackals and have 2 elites still alive when the next ship comes in. At the next dropship, a grunt gets out right next to 2 elites, so you want to get him right away. Unfortunately, I'm bad at aiming. I am hindered a bit though by the eye patch skull that disables aim assist for controller gigachads like myself. That's the fastest I've ever been marked by a dropship turret, by the way. Holy shit. My second attempt, my aim at this ship was even worse, and it took me so long to headshot the grunt that neither elite was close enough to him to lose their shields. So I had to use a grenade, get a lucky headshot in the blue elite, then beat the red elite with no mercy. And while I'm shooting, I'll now mention one of the worst skulls in CE LASO that's exclusive to CE, Recession. Every time I fire a shot, it uses 2 rounds instead of 1. So you burn through ammo twice as fast and your magazines basically have half capacity. To try to get more pistol ammo, I started killing my crewmen, but to make matters even worse, their pistols have half the ammo because of the famine skull. Between these 2 skulls and foreign not letting you grab Covenant weapons, 343 really said, "F your ammo." There are 2 ships left, and these are the worst 2 because the second always comes in right after the first. It's not when there's only 2 enemies left like the previous ones. This one comes in right away. So you can't strategically leave guys alive and set yourself up for the next ship. You have to just get out there and kill everyone ASAP. And this ship I'm at now always has 4 grunts and either 3 elites or 2 elites and 1 jackal. So it's not exactly an easy ship to clear fast. But again, I got fortunate here and managed to do it. You may be wondering why I'm not showing more deaths, but the reason is this was literally my second attempt. I have nothing to show besides the one I already did. The final ship is a lot easier. There's only 1 elite, so unless you fall behind on the previous ship, it's not too bad. I cleared it without a problem, and now 7 minutes in, I had a puma. Instead of falling off down to the ramp, I drove all the way around like a female dog because I was scared of flipping and either taking damage or splattering. Then we made it to the light bridge. Instead of clearing the entire area, I simply parked the Warthog, jumped on top of it, then up, and ran up to the button. Because the area is still considered dangerous, you can press the button without having the cutscene play, then run back to the Warthog. I only got shot a couple times, which is pretty unusual, but it doesn't matter anyway because the next lifeboat where I grabbed the sniper rifle also has a health pack. Marine friend and I drove to the first area, Cliff, where I tried doing a Warthog fling to the entrance, but overshot it and went up top. Then I got punched by an elite who took me down to 2 yellow health. A couple grunts further inside took me down to 1 red, but I was alive. In this part of the level, there are 3 different areas where you're supposed to rescue Marines, but if they're all dead, Cortana tells you to just move on to the next area. So with the help of the boom skull, I just grenaded the Marines here until they were all dead.
Marty, he's killing the Marines.
Now I had to leave being 1 red, no shields. I shot a grunt, which also killed a blue elite with the explosion, then I tried to make my escape. Well, hey, I'm a half-glass full person.
That's a lie.
That was literally my second attempt, and I made it that far. So surely it won't take me that long to get back. That was literally an hour and a half of attempts. This time, when I made it back to Cliff, I did the fling perfectly and had full shields and health entering the structure. I capped the grunts, Ayatollah'd the Marines, my gunner was killed while I was inside the base, press F to pay respects, and I was onto the second area, Rebel. The strategy here is pretty simple. Drive the Wardog onto the rocks, splatter one of the Assault Rifle Marines, then pick up the other two. The other Assault Rifle Marine should get in the gun, and the Sniper Rifle Marine should grab shotgun. Hurry up! There are other Marines down below, but they stand zero chance against the LASO Covenant, who will kill them for me. Removing these two from the area with the Wardog counts as them being dead as far as the game is concerned, so we are free to go to the last area. The reason you want the Sniper Marine in the passenger seat is because this guy is a freaking beast at helping you clear this area. And I needed the help because the stupid Recession Skull means I had to reload the Sniper after only 2 shots. We killed the rest of the Covenant, and I boarded Echo 419. That's Halo in 15 minutes and 3 seconds, but as you saw, there were a lot more attempts than just that one. We couldn't leave the Halo ring because the Covenant stole the captain's keys, and Truth and Reconciliation is about getting them back. Unfortunately, this is considered by most people to be the toughest level in this game's LASO. The only 2 UNSC weapons in this level are the Assault Rifle and Sniper. With the Foreign Skull, you can't grab Covenant weapons, so you have to make do with your 2 starting weapons that you burn ammo twice as fast with, and if you run out of ammo, you're just screwed. In this opening, I would kill everyone, and if I felt like I wasted too many shots, I would restart. You just can't be missing shots. And that's really all the opening couple areas on the Desert Plateau come down to. Don't miss shots and save shots when you can. When you have the opportunity to bludgeon a Red Elite to death instead of using 2 or 3 sniper shots, you gotta take it. This second area in particular wouldn't be that hard if I was just going guns blazing and not caring about saving ammo, but as it stands, I still had my fair share of runs die here. Area 3 is pretty free. You snipe this red guy and hopefully 2-shot him unless you just completely whiff, then have to waste 2 more sniper shots on him and still not even kill him, then spend another 15 seconds bludgeoning Miss Scarlet to death in the ballroom with a candlestick. The reward for this is an active camouflage that lets you take a casual stroll to the second most infamous part of this level, the lift. After backsmacking 2 Jackals and 1 Elite, there are 9 grunts to clean up, which I tried to do from a distance. I did lose 1 run here because I briefly forgot that grunts explode and walked right by a dead one before getting shot by a turret. Once enough grunts are dead, you get a drop ship, then when enough of those guys are dead, you get 8 waves of Covenant down the lift. On lower difficulties, there are only 4 waves, but for Legendary, Bungie decided to make this more miserable and set it to 8. I was playing this stupid by throwing grenades on the lift when all you need to do is snipe a grunt and let him blow everyone up. And I made the lift fights harder than they needed to be, but even if I was doing it optimally, this is just a really tough part of the level, and this was the part of the level where I had the most deaths, still not as many of those I had on the dropship part of Halo. And again, as a reminder, every time I died, I was restarting the entire level. These deaths you're seeing weren't like me just reloading the last checkpoint and trying this part over and over. The belly fight is the worst part of this level on LASO, but I wouldn't know because I've never done it and never will, because instead I do a trick called belly skip, which starts with me grenading and shooting this wraith. You want to throw the grenades in the back where they can't kill your Marines, by the way. That's very important. You come over here to this wing and shoot some more. You got to be positioned just right and do the right inputs, and you get bumped inside the wraith. From inside the wraith, you do fancier positioning, and if everything goes well, you'll get launched out of the wraith onto the ceiling outside of the map. Outside of obviously letting me skip the toughest part of the level, more importantly as far as LASO speedrunning goes, this is probably the second biggest time save of any trick in the game. It's not all sunshine and rainbows yet though. You have to do this platforming in a Pacific way or else you'll fall back inside the ship early, or even worse, you'll fall into the black void of outer space and have to restart the entire fucking level. Do it right and you'll fall back in the map shortly before the hangar. Belly skip is a trick that I've known how to do for years now, so I have a lot of practice with it. What I didn't have a lot of practice with is the LASO grenade jump in the hangar, which I practiced for about 15 minutes before I started attempting these runs. You may recall from my previous CE LASO video, I had an entire compilation of me failing a grenade jump in the hangar. That's not the grenade jump I'm doing now, which is this. The reason you don't die from all those grenades blowing up is because you're invincible while overshields charge. I do regret to inform you though, I didn't do that my first try. That was my second run that made it to the hangar. My first run to get there, I failed that grenade jump miserably. One additional benefit of that grenade jump, besides skipping the hangar, is there are also no enemies as you make your way to the bridge. So this is all pretty comfy. When I got to the bridge, this was also honestly easy. You just snipe everybody and try not to die. Despite it being a speed run, I did take all this kind of slow and safe. I grabbed a hidden active camo in the empty prison, then went to the non-empty prison, where for some reason, instead of backsmacking the elites, I decided to shoot them. It was now time for the keys escort, where I would have to try my hardest to keep them alive.
Fire!
That was the least intelligent grenade of my entire life. After another hour of attempts, I made it back to the prison where this time I did not have the active camo. I was copying what Jervalen does and saving it for later. This time with keys, I was determined to be better, which wasn't a very high bar because literally all I had to do to be better was make it out of the first room. I celebrated after seeing he was still alive following me grenading the first 2 elites. After clearing the next group of Covenant, I started doing another Jervalen strat. I would run back to the prison, have keys follow me, then bolt ahead to clear the next area, then run back to the prison, and so on. What is bro doing? This is to make sure that Keys doesn't get killed by the Covenant or kill himself because on Legendary, he loves throwing grenades at his own feet. I now grabbed the active camouflage and made my way to the bridge where I backsmacked the first Sword Elite and really needed to hit my shots on the other 2. Thank God. The other benefit of the grenade jump in the hangar is after all this dialogue about, we're trapped in here, the level just ends so you don't have to bring Keys back to the hangar, finalizing my time as a 23:25. I know exactly how that skip works, and I could explain in detail why, but I don't really feel like it. Fuck you. Next up was the Silent Cartographer, or as I like to call it, the Silent Cartographer. Overall, this level is a massive breather compared to the first 3. The only downside is every time after restarting it, you have to watch a 48-second cutscene, then walk backwards on the beach for a minute until you get to a Warthog. Doing a bit of nifty driving, you take this Warthog into the Forerunner facility, where sometimes grunts like to stick your Warthog, dooming you to a restart. Far more humiliating is when you drive the Warthog below trying to do a Warthog fling and instead miss the door and splatter yourself. Time to go back to the beach. But okay, do that correctly and you're through the door, already skipping a whole lot of the mission. I got killed by one of the grunts outside blowing up. Okay, I'm past the door, I shoot a bit to skip the cutscene where Master Chief kicks the rock, then I fall off down below in such a way to not die. One more drop. Then I can activate the Silent Cartographer. How do we get back up, you may ask? Another grenade jump. Did not mean to throw that last grenade so early. Yikes. I had a few more resets to just dumb stuff. I failed the grenade jump one more time before this one where you can see how it's supposed to look. Some of you might be wondering, that is different than the normal speedrun grenade jump here to go even higher, quite simply because I don't have plasma grenades to do that one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't worry about it, little bro. From here, I grabbed an active camouflage and took a very specific route to get back up. If you do this all correctly, the camo lasts until you're past all the enemies, but if you lollygag and don't cut corners or miss a jump, then the camo runs out early and you're probably dead. I've done this a million times though, so I got back to the Warthog room, ran upstairs to trigger Foehammer, ran back downstairs to grab the Warthog, and drove past the mini camo elites that spawned to Foehammer. That was only about half an hour of attempts. That was way easier than the first 3 levels. Foehammer flew through a giant manhole and I locked in my Silent Cartographer at 4:14. Deep in the bowels of the manhole, we found ourselves on an ice planet where Foehammer did an epic jump scare prank on a grunt. I got a jump scare for you. My opening attempt at assault in the control room was very aggressive. I ran past everyone at the start trying to do the old punch him as I go to regen my shield strat, which worked in the sense that I got past them all, but what I wasn't expecting was while punching an elite in the next room, the grunts I had skipped showed up to chase me. Being shot in the back trying to clear this room did not go well. So going forward, I started chucking 2 fragmentation grenades at the door as it opened to damage the 2 elites that run out before attempting to headshot them. Keyword being attempting to headshot them. After killing them and accidentally jumping in a turret instead of reloading, I ran into the next room where I completely whiffed on a melee to regen my shields and immediately paid the ultimate price, California state income taxes. My next run died because I was busy calling someone stupid on Twitter before finally I blew up everyone on the opening platform, made it past the second room with nearly full shields, and went to a spot to set up for a trick called Banshee Grab. Except there was a grunt on my right and left, and I thought if I shot them I would blow myself up, so I tried shooting in front of me to scare them away. This didn't work. Hello, Jackals. Don't mind if I just run past you. Haha, shit. The turret strat. Oh no. I made it back to the bridge where this time I only had 1 grunt to my left. I shot him and this did not in fact blow me up. This video is not a guide, even though for some reason some of you use these highly edited videos that don't show everything as guides instead of using actual guides. In any case, I'm not gonna explain how I just got the Banshee pilot to give me a free Banshee, but nonetheless, I'm now in a Banshee and there are no more enemy spawns the remainder of the level. There are 2 more tricks I can save time with though. When I get to the double bridges, I fly the Banshee inside the next room. Here I park the Banshee in a certain spot and punch it just right to do this. I just teleported to the ice bridge. After grabbing the ice bridge Banshee, I do this. Both of those teleports combined save about a minute. Master Chief walked at a leisurely pace to the control terminal for the mass super weapon that could determine the outcome of the entire war. Cortana gets real big. How does 2001 Cortana look better than 2021 Cortana? It's actually insane.
Not better than 2012 Cortana, though.
Shut the fuck. The green giant suddenly panics and yells at literally me to go start the next level. My final time on Assault in the control room was 444, which is an angel number, frog bless. We're now on to 343 Guilty Spark. This is where Halo turns into a horror game. 343 Guilty Spark is a level that should also be easy, but for some reason gave me a bit of trouble. It's really simple and straightforward. At spawn, I went left instead of right. Going this way lets me jump up a rock called Rock Boss because Halo speedrunners collectively suck at jumping on it, and from Rock Boss you can do a couple more jumps to get up here, letting you go to the facility a lot faster and without having to fight any Covenant. Inside the facility, I tried headshotting a grunt and letting him blow everyone up, but unfortunately I have the worst aim of anyone to ever play this game. My next attempt, I did this successfully and ran down to the floor below to set up this level's big trick, reveal skip. That involves running here and doing a grenade jump under a piece of glass in the ceiling. It's kind of wonky, so with timing the grenade jump just right and moving just as right, you can get inside the ceiling. Once inside, you do what I call a crouch bounce across an invisible gap onto another walkable part of the ceiling, and from there you can jump into a room that's locked until after the flood reveal. This is where Halo turns into a skip everything game. I took another elevator down, then had another trick called Camo Jumo, where you grab camo, then jump on a pillar, letting you cross a gap you're not supposed to be able to get across without going in a completely different room first. This lets you run through most of the rest of the facility while camouflaged. The reason it's called Camo Jumo instead of Camo Jump is because someone made a typo in a Skype chat 12 years ago. In the final room, I did a grenade jump called Sub Nade to get up towards the elevator. The Flood accused me of cheating though and made sure I was unsuccessful. Going forward, to save more time, I stopped blowing up the enemies at the entrance of the building and instead just ran by them. Reveal skip is free, Camo Jumo is also free, Sub Nade not so free. But on my third attempt that made it to this point, I finally got Sub Nade and didn't die in the process. You may have noticed that I have plasma grenades on this level, and that's because despite the foreign skull, you still spawn with plasma grenades on levels where you normally spawn with them. I just can't pick more up. One habit I have back in the swamp is I'll throw plasma grenades at my feet to blow up Flood that are chasing me. This works great on regular legendary, but I completely forgot that on LASO, grenades have double the blast radius. Reveal skip is free, and I choked it. That never happens. Back to reveal skip, and I choked it again. Alright, I finally had a run make it back outside, and this time I got to the ending. Funny thing about this level on Legendary, the ending is tied to your allied sentinels dying, so it was in my best interest to help the Flood kill the sentinels. Rather than recognize I was trying to do them a solid, the Flood instead killed me. Thankfully, my very next attempt, I made it back here, killed the sentinel successfully, waited 7 seconds, and was greeted by 343. My final time was 5:05, which looks like SOS saved me from this stupid challenge. Halo Studios' Guilty Spark teleported me to a library with no books where I AFK'd for the first 30 seconds so I could buy more lemonade stands on Adventure Capitalist. Library famously has 10 big doors to go through, but you can bypass basically everything before the first door in a couple ways. The way that I'm gonna do is to move up until you're under Spark, then turn back around and do a grenade jump onto a box. From there, you jump to the center area that you're not supposed to get to yet. There are 2 combat forms and 2 carriers that spawn here, but they're the only enemies you'll see before the first door. For some reason, I tried to kill them and got myself blown up by a boom skull enhanced carrier. As my attempts started racking up, I remembered from my past video that you can literally just ignore these guys and run towards Spark again, then avoid them by going up on a pillar. I've successfully brought Spark to the first door to open it while avoiding the triggers to spawn any more Flood. This works on non-LASO legendary as well, just throwing that out there. After the door, I took a hard left instead of going right, where there's a hidden shotgun and health pack. I wouldn't be using the shotgun yet, though. This is, in my opinion, the real worst level in this game's LASO, specifically because of the ammo skulls, Famine and Recession. There's just not enough ammo to get through this level without running past stuff and/or ammo glitching, which we'll get to. Mythic doubling enemies' health and foreign not letting me grab Covenant weapons doesn't help the ammo problem either. Library has 4 floors, and the rest of this first floor, I'm just trying to run past everyone. There's a cool grenade jump in the middle of it after grabbing an overshield that takes advantage of the invincible while charging thing. I got better at running through this floor as I got more attempts, but early on in my 4 hours of playing this level before finally completing it deathless, I died here a ton. And what's especially brutal about dying and having to restart on Library versus the other levels is that none of the deaths are quick. Meaning it's not like I died 20 seconds into the level, so I'm not losing that much. Every death here was multiple minutes. And it only got worse as I progressed and started losing runs that were like like 20 minutes into the level. There's supposed to be a bunch more flood spawns before the elevator, but if enough flood are alive behind you, no more spawn, letting me finally get to the elevator for floor 2. And the second floor starts pretty easy. There's a door that you're supposed to wait at, but after getting the wait here pop up, if you turn around, no flood will spawn, just the carriers that were already here, and you can wait out the door up top and be totally safe. I did have one death here because I wasn't sure if I hit the trigger or not, and I ended up spawning a bunch of guys and getting cornered. There's another combat encounter you can bypass by running around this inside ring part, which takes you to a door that partially opens and you're supposed to wait at, but instead I grenade jump through. This leads to the first real combat where I'm actually trying to kill stuff and not just run by it. And as my intro to fighting, I got destroyed. The saving grace of all flood levels, but especially library, is you can regen your shields by mailing infection forms. I mentioned ammo glitching. If you have 3 UNSC weapons, you can basically give yourself infinite ammo by double tapping the reload button, and on the second button press of that double tap, you hold down the button to swap your held weapon with the one on the ground. Then you wait the amount of time it takes to reload before picking that gun back up. So my shotgun was at 12 rounds, and after reloading the entire shotgun with a ground reload, it's now only at 11. The shotgun always drops 1, the magnum and assault rifle, if you do it right, don't drop at all. The worst way I lost a run was while ammo glitching. I killed a carrier which blew another carrier close to my shotgun, and that carrier blew my shotgun high into the wall where I couldn't get it no matter what I tried. This ended with me trying to grenade jump to it. The next combat is out of this tunnel, a guy drops down, and utilizing that glitch, I was killing all the flood here before moving on to the next hallway, carrier hallway, which has a rocket flood, but more importantly in LASO, a million carriers, which blew me up many times. This is my first really big bottleneck of the level where I just couldn't get past this, and it was very frustrating. I realized I had to try something else, and my idea was instead of charging the hallway, go left, chuck a grenade, and try to let all the carriers explode from a distance. This worked really well. The only downside was I'd have to fight a few guys from the previous hall who would run up on me. But with this new strategy, I made up my new farthest, and the rest of floor 2 I could just run by. This is the elevator to floor 3. There are 4 flood to kill with the help of sentinels at the start of floor 3, nothing too bad. Then there's what's called Cancer Hallway, where there are a bunch of flood at the end, whom I slowly killed with my pistol utilizing ground reloads. A bit further ahead is called Dark Door, which takes 45 seconds to open. I thought I could just fight by this door because it's one of the easier ones on normal legendary. The problem is I ended up being cornered by flood and eaten by the popcorn. So I had to go all the way back to the start, and I followed this up by failing the first jump of the level and walking off the box. The bright side is I was definitely getting better. I would still occasionally get unlucky and die in first floor, but on most of my attempts, I was making it to the second or third. And my new carrier hallway strat was very clutch. I had 0 deaths doing it this way instead of rushing. I made it back to Dark Door, where this time I hit the trigger for the door, then turned around and ran away. There's an initial wave of flood that spawned, but once they're dead, like the earlier door, you can wait back here and no more will spawn. The downside of doing this is that when you're this far away from the door, it takes 3 times as long to open. But those were seconds I was willing to sacrifice to finally get through this door and get on with my speedrun. You have got to be fucked. After dying some more times, I made it past Dark Door again, and this time there actually wasn't even a rocket flood. There usually is, but it's somewhat random. If you go this way and jump on the pillar just right, you skip all the next spawns. Excuse me for a moment. Fuck! Okay, after another half hour of attempts, I'm back at Dark Door. I killed the rocket flood, and instead of jumping around this inner part clockwise, I went counterclockwise, which is slower, but there's no flood to jump at you, and you can jump anywhere on this last pillar and still skip the spawns. I have now made it the farthest I have ever made it, and I grabbed a health pack. In the usual speedrun, we very easily just run past all this, so I tried the same.
Some of them survive to reproduce.
I was so mad by Mercer May. I seriously just considered quitting after that and not even doing this video. It was like midnight and I decided to attempt one more run. First door skipped, shotgun grabbed, overshield grenade jump done, elevator reached, door waited at, these guys killed, these guys also killed, carriers blown up, elevator, hallway cleared, door waited at, ring run around, and we are so back. This time I killed everyone who jumped out at me and took my time with reloads before beelining through this hallway. Cross your fingers. Thank God. You get locked in a room for 90 seconds on Legendary, but if you hide in this corner, no one notices you. There is a trick to skip this room, but it's partially luck-based, and there was no chance I was risking my entire run on a partially luck-based trick. The door opens, there's a group of a bunch of Flood that run out. I just killed them. Elevator to the last floor, which is honestly probably the easiest floor. You can run through this hallway, we got another door I can hide at, then I took my time killing every carrier here, and then every Flood form before the final door. I grenade jumped through that door, which is deceptively hard because you have to do it as the door is moving and opening. Then I went around left and jumped all the way around this ring, which is a lot slower, but I was not gonna risk dying. Spark says a bunch of nonsense, who cares? I was finally through the worst level and my time was 28:26, which is slow as F word and still not representative of the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. Only 3 more levels left. Master Chef takes another casual stroll to the computer where 343 gets him to activate the index. Cortana yells, "Do not redeem." Chief is an idiot. Cortana says a bunch of British sayings. I screen capped this image of Chief for the thumbnail on my first LASO video. Sloth SG sent me an invite, and 2 Betrayals begins with me getting shot by Sentinels. Strangely, I spawn with plasma grenades like usual, but not the plasma pistol, which makes these Sentinels slightly tougher, but not too much. The Boom Skull is really clutch for killing the first couple with the plasma grenade before shotgunning the straggler or stragglers. In this hallway, I just chuck frags to kill the Covenant, then more Covenant spawn and I kill them too, then it's trick time. If you press the button to open this door twice with just the right timing, the door will open, but the game won't realize it's open and no enemies will spawn out here outside of 2 Jackals and 2 Elites that are pre-spawned. This lets me run down and grab a Banshee with no resistance. You do have to fly back up and hit the button again though, then fly in a certain pattern to hit required triggers. This level is very finicky. If you miss any triggers, you can't finish it. I fly up to the generator, park the Banshee inside the hallway, hit the generator with my body, park a new Banshee that spawns in the corner of the door, and fly the first Banshee into the ceiling to launch me out of the map. This is a trick called Bull that I'm not going to get too nerdy on. Moral of the story is, as you can see, I can fly this Banshee through walls and hit all those required triggers I was talking about inside this Banshee without having to fight any bad guys. You can even hit the pulse generator triggers in the Banshee. There are ways to mess up and have to restart, but spoiler alert, I didn't have to on this level. So if you were hoping to have to see me fight this level on foot, too bad, so sad. I think after Library, I've earned an easy level. I came back inbounds before the broken door where you're supposed to exit the Banshee. Joke's on the door though, because I know a special way to fly the Banshee right through. Moving ahead to the outside area, 5 Flood have to die here for some reason to keep progressing, so I fire a rocket where a few spawn and hope the Covenant kill a couple as well. Fly ahead a bit more, turn around, last pulse generator looks like it's turned off, but it still works. 2 Betrayals in 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I would make fun of Keys' cutscene, but the problem is I have to skip it at just the right time and do the proper inputs to get this Flood guy to be a reviver, meaning he goes down and pretends to be dead before getting back up. Because if he's a reviver, you can bring it back to where you spawned, and whenever he gets back up, he can push you through the wall. After going right to the Black Void, you come back this way where all the enemies are frozen, and after taking a second to kill them, but not too long, I can activate the punch keys in the face cutscene. If you leave any Flood alive, they come alive during the cutscene, and they kill you while in the cutscene, which is very funny, but also tragic. I lost a couple runs on the exit, but ideally, you just throw a grenade, it distracts all the enemies, and you can run right by them. In the hangar, I simply walk off the platform down to the 2nd floor, then wait for the Banshees to fly in, which I then commandeer. Important to note about Keys, the MCC timer does not time the punch keys cutscene. Traditional speedruns do time it. So no, my 2:06 time is not world record because the record time includes like a 30-second cutscene. After admiring the Crash Pillar of Autumn as peak Marty music plays, Chief's Banshee runs out of gas and I was finally on the last level, the Maw. The beginning of this level is reminiscent of Pillar of Autumn. I run past a few guys and go to the corner of this door that the Flood bash open, and if you crouch in that corner, you get pushed out of the map onto the ceiling. But just like Pillar of Autumn, most of the ceiling is wide open, and if you mess up, you fall back into the map and have to restart. And I'm much better at this platforming, but still not very good, so I lost quite a few runs to this. You come back into the map in the room with the charred walls of the dam where there's an overshield on the left. Sorry it's taking me so long to switch the graphics back. In the hallway, I took a side path to avoid a couple hunters and to hopefully preserve the overshield, then like a genius, I punched a grunt and subsequently lost the overshield. I grabbed a shotgun and rockets in the armory, then headed towards the engine room. After grabbing a health pack to regen my shields, I tried a rocket jump and blew myself up. At least there's no funnier way for a run to die than that. The reactors are annoying because it seems kind of random where sometimes the reactors blow up in 1 rocket and sometimes it takes 2 rockets. I don't know what that's about, but it makes it inconsistent. I went to the elevator where I unloaded everything I had on the Spec Ops Covenant and made sure to stay back and let all the grunts blow up. Let's do this Warthog run.
More damage than we thought.
All right. At least I didn't die. I'm good at the Warthog run. I've done this a million times. Sorry, Fohammer, I don't care that you died. I got a run to finish. I stopped by the Thirsty Grunt and gave him a smack to regen my shields before doing the trick to validate my run. that was close. Last trick, at the barrels you can drive the Warthog through, and that makes driving to the ship pretty clean. And oh my god, I beat LASO on this stupid game again. My time on the Maw was 9 minutes 27 seconds, which means my total time was 1 hour, 50 minutes, 32 seconds, mission accomplished. I'll quickly mention the world record for CE LASO at the time of recording is 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 46 seconds by Alex Tremo, but that may change because him and Kronos have been going back and forth. But to put that in perspective, not only is that one straight through run faster than me adding my best times together, that also includes cutscene times that the MCC timer doesn't count. If it did, my time would be like 1 hour, 55 minutes. So shout out to both Alex Tremo and Kronos, and Guns, who also had the full game record for a bit earlier this year. And either way, I did it. I'm never playing CE LASO again, or Halo 5 LASO for that matter. Ribbit. If you like this video, check out my other LASO stuff, or just my other videos, because they're all bangers. Shout out to my patrons as always, and consider becoming one yourself. That'll do, pig. That'll do.